So it wouldn't be an Ivy fashion if I wouldn't be this nervous into recording this second episode, because being open and vulnerable is so fucking easy, right? Um like, I get it when everyone says it's supposed to be therapy to be sitting here and talking about shit that you're feeling, but at the same time, especially if you're a creative and especially if you're in entertainment, it's extremely nerve-wracking. Um so I know I spoke about earlier, everything changed back in January. Your girl almost didn't make it coming out of the hospital. Going through a whole bunch of shit. You know, I lose the love of, or at least someone I thought that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And without being able to process that, it was just like, well, fuck. And then on top of that, my mom's house burns down. And I'm here trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with the next part of my life while trying to make sure that my mom and Mello are okay. Because if Mello's not okay, the world is not okay, right? So, it's just really difficult. And I feel like, because I saw a meme, not a meme, it's one of those reels where they were singing along, but the caption on the video said "heal out loud" to make it easier for those that are suffering in silence. So it really had me think about why I was doing this, and it made me want to go redo the second part to this podcast. Especially like after really going through the photo shoot, and we flew on everything watching the Weeknd movie, and to see how much I've changed from when I started listening to him in 2012 to who I am now. It's kind of freaky. In a good way, though. But welcome back. It's part 2 of our kickoff to Ivy Speaks. I'm your host, Katie K. This is more than a recap, it's a reflection. I started listening to The Weeknd back in 2012, right after the end of my first serious relationship. If you know me long enough, you guys know that relationship really defined my way of viewing myself. It started a whole lot of self-doubt and insecurities, and you thought I would have learned my lesson by then, especially after this go around, but that didn't really fucking happen. But we're looking to change that now. My ex just didn't. He thought of me, and he even said it recently to me, because he wanted to reach out and give condolences to what's been going on in my life, which to an extent, I guess it's sweet, but we're not gonna go backwards. But I did thank him. But he was a very narcissistic type of person. He called me his project. He wanted to see, because he saw me as overweight, that I'm unlovable in a way, but at the same time, he's like, I know how beautiful you will be. And it made me mad. Like, I can remember when I used to work in the Cross County Mall, and when the buses would stop, instead of spending money, I didn't have to take a cab to my apartment that I was sharing with him at the time. I would just walk 4 miles from fucking Cross County to Getty Square, pretty much. And it's not the most safest area, but I just couldn't do it. I'd walk to the gym. I'd walk everywhere. I still do that, mind you. It's extremely unhealthy. I mean, it's not unhealthy, but if you're going a super far distance, like, you're doing this more than the runners. So, but for some reason, walking always just centers me too. So, when I started listening to The Weeknd at the end of this relationship, his music didn't just soundtrack my pain, it helped me really survive it. from late nights crying in the dark and rebuilding who I was without somebody else. Mind you, was still going to college, had to get my grades up, but his voice became something that always just drew me back through every version of myself, from being broken to being hopeful to being creative. His music was always some type of constant companion, especially in my creative process. So when I finally brought together in the beginning of my career a group of the Weeknd fans for a photo shoot, people who were like me, who found healing in his work, and it wasn't about the aesthetic of it. It was about bonding over shared wounds, growth, and not just shooting content. Because back then, we talking about 2012, 2013, 2014. Who the fuck gave a shit about having content in a massive social media era? There was still interaction. There was still people bonding. There was still people having fun and living. Whew. But let me not go off on that tangent. But we created our own community, and it was never, that energy is never forgotten. Like after 10 years passing, it's still, when I went to go to Lincoln Center, the Lincoln movie theaters off of 14th Street, it felt like that same experience all over again. Watching the movie, though, it was very emotional. There was a lot of heartbreak, ego, vulnerability. It reminds you of how fragile life and your identity could be when you're constantly performing for others. And I'm not saying that in the sense of being someone that works in entertainment. I'm talking about the facade everyone puts every day, trying to keep it cool, because if you're not, then people are going to know something is wrong, or you're having a bad day, but you work with kids and you were probably just crying all day in the closet, and one of the kids knock on the door because they need your help with something, and you just got to put that smile on. But the movie reminds me of how much his music and the art became such a safe place, especially for me, not knowing that for many years I was battling more than I knew what I was battling. Like I said, and you're gonna hear another episode, but pretty much, when my brother died, they also diagnosed me with BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. And for someone that goes through it and not knowing for so many years, watching the movie made it so relatable, because being with BPD, you would go through emotional, unpredictable habits. You over sexualize everything. You have no impulse control. And in my 20s, that was a lot of that. And I thought, hey, it's just a product of my environment, of the people that I thought were my heroes and they actually weren't. And it just takes you back. So when we talk about the movie and we're in the Weeknd psyche, we kind of just really relate with the Jenna Ortega and the Barry Keoghan roles, where Keoghan plays the responsible person, the aggressive work one. Oh, you're going through something, yeah, manage it while you are working, channel it into your work. And then when you see Anima's character, the Jenna Ortega character, it feels like the emptiness that we all carry at times. She even said in the visual of him in the movie, where he's having this moment with the Jenna Ortega character, she's talking about how she feels alone, how her family doesn't care about her, how she went through this and this type of trauma, and breaking down the way she did when she started really recognizing what is wrong, not only with whatever situation she's involved in, but what's around, like within her. Um, and it relates to you because that's how you. Everyone has those voices in their head that they try to manage with trauma, and they have all that control and chaos. And that push and pull is so relatable. You know, the need to feel and the fear of what feeling brings. Because gonna be 33. And one of my kids just told me that I work with, you know, you tell me not to take certain risks in life, but did you take those risks? You know, look at what your last relationship brought. Now, mind you, I thought that was wild, disrespectful, but at the end of the day, the kid was right. Um, why haven't I still rebuilt? Watching, even though it's fictional, watching elements of his life that he did experience when he lost his voice, and what would life be like without his talent. It's watching our own lives be real time mirrored. Our journey, especially those that create. In the last scene where he sits in the middle of everything he's built and he still feels lost. Because don't we all feel like that? After the movie, I literally just sat there with myself. Because while many of the critics try to say it was a horrible movie, they didn't understand it. Kind of like American Psycho. It's a psychological thriller, yes, but it also has an introspective, and you have to understand who the Weeknd is in order for you to be able to understand the movie. So if you're not a fan, you're not going to understand it. But now, if you look at it in a psychological way and dive deeper into it's not about the music, it's more about the psychological components. Everyone has the angel and the devil sitting on their shoulder. And everyone every day walks, talks, breathes, and looks for that over their shoulder to make sure they're still doing that one thing that will make them feel okay. And every day it's hard because we all have our battles that we're facing. So while people talk about it being a trash movie, I feel like it's one of the more insightful movies I've seen in a while. It really brought me back to a time also where it made me feel okay to create again. I know it sounds stupid because I've been this photographer for so many years. Shot with celebrities. Like, Ace always talks about how my repertoire, and up until this day, I still feel lost in those moments because I still feel like I have so much work to do. Especially now after this last year, I feel like I've lost so much and I have so much to catch up on, not only in my career, but as a personal person. And everything hit harder though. Music hit harder. My emotions, really starting to reflect on my BPD and different walks and different things I have done. But like I said, I wanted to start doing better and start piecing things together and not blame people also for my sadness and the depression and all that. So I took the first step and I did a photo shoot, something I haven't done since 2011. to 2013. I used to be a portfolio model for a photographer. Um, and I never really thought I had it in me, to tell you the truth. Um, but it was fun. And I guess that's what also started that Ivy persona, outside of me not trying to associate myself with my past. Um, I used to get in front of that camera and just, I felt amazing. Like, I felt like I was that bitch, even though I wasn't. And not many people got to see the photos, but just for those brief moments, it felt amazing. So after years of bitching at independent artists to get professional photos done, I kind of got called out on my bullshit. So I called my boy Ivo, and I'm like, Ivo, I don't do this often, but I haven't had a photo shoot, and we can't count the ones that Ramon did, because that was my ex at the time. So I don't feel like that was a full-fledged shoot, especially because I don't think he wanted to do them. But that I guess that'll be a conversation I'll never have with him. But so I'm here now, and I'm doing the first photo shoot not only for the Ivy Speak stuff, but it's content that's going to be used for Raw Zone, for the Get Roar Bash, for everything. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm sitting here awkward trying to pose at first. I got the chicken, the chicken wing arms. So I lost a lot of weight since being in the hospital. I went from a good 240 or something, because my weight used to fluctuate a lot between like 240 and 250. From there I went down to 220. Now from 220 I'm down to 208 to 213. I'll fluctuate. And it's a bitch. It is a giant bitch and a half. So I'm here trying to pose, hide my chicken wings, hide my freestyle Libre, because they're not going to cut me a check, so why am I going to promote this shit? And then Ivo did everything he could to make the subject feel comfortable. And that's hard for me to say, because it's very hard to make me feel comfortable. I got trust issues, baby. So, and then we just sitting here talking the shit. First of all, I found out Ivo is actually older than me. So out of all of fucking Josh Banton's friends, he's the oldest. I didn't know that. I thought I was the oldest. So it's very nice and refreshing for once to not be the oldest anymore. So shout out to Ivo for that. But, ta-da! He really got me, though, because we've both been doing this for the same amount of time, but had different experiences. So the fact that I was nervous, and the fact that he understood, and the fact that he wanted to learn certain things, like, even though we were in a studio, mind you, he didn't expect me to have all the goodies I had in the studio that I did, which was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna hold you. So trying different ways, like I took out the photo Bible that I haven't taken out in a while, and he was so amazed with it, like a little kid in the candy store. And then it made me so happy, because like, oh my god, maybe we could do this shoot. And kind of from there it went well, because we found a point where I felt comfortable again. Not to say that any point of it was uncomfortable. It's just everyone has their own way of getting acclimated in a shoot, and I haven't felt like that. I even after that kind of signed up for a couple of gigs to see maybe, hey, someone needs a model for something. When you see the pictures, you understand why. But even the process to get this shoot happening, Like, I have to thank Papi Heck for this first, because he helped style me for it. The jeans with the white shirt and the jeans with the green shirt was all him. With me, it was that outfit that I wore at my niece's sweet 16. Because I felt kind of badass with it. So I was like, could we do this outfit? And I threw my glasses on. Because it's not that I don't like not having my glasses, but I feel like, one, I can't see from far, so fuck that. Two, I feel like glasses also just fit me and the persona, you know. Like, you got Ivy with the black outfit, but then you see Katie with the next one, and you see the two different sides of me. And I feel like this shoot felt like it was more me, and I'm becoming what I'm supposed to be. This is like the first time in years I'm not attached. And I'm not saying in the sense of a relationship, but I'm not attached to anyone's negative opinion of me. I am not attached to certain standards. I've put more boundaries in place for me to feel better. I'm losing weight. I'm reconnecting with friends that I didn't think I would ever reconnect with. Granted, do I feel certain things I feel extremely uncomfortable feeling? Yes, and this you could clearly tell listening to this part of the podcast. But I feel like everything has kind of come full circle. And this is why I kind of got excited about doing this. You know, it also showed me who's really there for me or not. And everyone could be there for you in a certain way. But if there's someone that you claim is the rock that's going through something and you're not there for them, they feel it. They see it. They won't tell you about it because that's who they are. And you just have to take it if they feel like if you weren't there for them. But do something better about it. Don't, like, if that strong person is telling you they needed you there, then you might not have been there. Everyone has something going on in their life, but if that one person reaches out, be there. The scariest feeling in the world when stuff comes full circle is when you want certain people to be there for you and they can't. And then you kind of just start building things on your own. So watching, Hurry Up Tomorrow and how the Weeknd overcomes stuff like that, and doing the reflecting on the 2014 2010 whatever year it was EXO shoot, because Aaliyah, little, if you do listen to this podcast, let me know what year we did that shoot. But and even just taking something that was just to make me feel like I'm myself or a better version of myself turned into such a soul-searching experience while exploring who I am now. I've been saying goodbye to the life that I thought I was going to have, thinking I was going to have my studio, right, in perfect condition, and business is going to be great. And I thought I was going to have that family aspect in my past relationship. And the biggest joke is tell God your plans and he'll laugh in your face. So, thinking about how my life came full circle, I still won't lie, I feel like I'm that lost girl that lost her brother back in 2012 21. Because I never got a chance to allow myself to heal from that. And I made a few mistakes down the road. Some good, some bad. I don't regret nothing, you know. But I hope when somebody hears this, they feel what I'm feeling right now. They understand. They also feel like they're not alone through this. To the families that that have somebody that's going through mental distress and is learning to manage, it's not your fault. You didn't do nothing to them. They just need help in trying to understand the world that they're in. Just be kind. Give a hug. You see someone is down, just say hi. What can I do for you? You don't want to be that person that ignores their girlfriend in a hospital bed. Or you don't want to be that girlfriend on the other end of that phone hearing you're going to be alone for a little while, not knowing if you're going to be able to make it out. So life is extremely precious. Make sure you love and make sure you really show the appreciation for the people you do have in your life while you still can. Make amends with those that, if you want, because you don't have to be forced to make amends, but if it helps you, do it. And just be unapologetically right to yourself. This is Ivy Speaks. I'm probably going to hear a lot of shit about this, but okay. I'll live. But like I said, if my healing helps somebody else, why not? Good night, guys.